What's up, you guys, with the latest news on your $2,000 fourth stimulus check update and recurring stimulus check update. And after seeing the weak jobs report recently, President Biden is now urging Congress to pass his economic plans, saying that our country needs these investments. And I quote that. He's actually referring to the infrastructure bill and the stimulus bill here. But what exactly did he mean by this? More than 100 Democrats are apparently backing newly introduced legislation that aims to lower the Medicare eligibility age to 60 years old. But how will this change Medicare for millions of Americans? The American Medical Association is calling for an immediate end to the use of the Ivermectin medicine as a way to fight. But the big question is, what's so wrong with this particular drug? Okay, so first up, here's your daily update on the infrastructure bill and the reconciliation bill, aka the stimulus bill. Now, after seeing weak jobs reports recently, President Biden is now urging Congress to pass the economic stimulus plans, saying that our country needs these investments. Now, he's actually referring to the infrastructure bill and the stimulus bill here. Now, both bills aim to transform and improve many areas of our country, so he's really pushing for it now. But what exactly did he have to say about this here? Let's take a look into it.
Today, we learned the economy created 235,000 new jobs in August, and the unemployment rate fell to 5.2%, the lowest it has been in 18 months. But despite the impact of the Delta variant, and I'll talk a little more about that in a minute, what we're seeing is an economic recovery that's durable and strong. The Biden plan is working. We're getting results. America is on the move again. And today's revision of previous month's job gains, with the revision of the July numbers, this report means that we have been adding an average of 750,000 jobs per month on average during the past 3 months. And in the 3 months before I became president, well, we're adding 60,000 jobs a month. Total job creation in the first 7 months of my administration is nearly double any prior first-year president. While I know some wanted to see a larger number today, and so did I, what we've seen this year is a continued growth, month after month, in job creation. It's not just that I've added more jobs than any first-year president, in the first year of any president. It's that we've added jobs in every single one of my first 7 job reports, and wages are going up. Some more jobs, some months are fewer, some months more, but always adding jobs. This is the kind of growth that makes our economy stronger and consistent progress, and not boom or bust. Our economy grew the first half of this year at the fastest rate in about 40 years. We're the only developed country in the world. I'll say that again. We're the only developed country in the world whose economy is now bigger than it was.
It tells you that President Joe Biden on Friday urged Congress to pass his more than $4 trillion economic agenda in order to boost sluggish job growth. The president made his case for spending on infrastructure, climate policy, and the social safety net after the Labor Department said that the country added 235,000 jobs in August. This particular figure fell well short of the 720,000 jobs that economists actually expected. So based on economists' expectation, the number of jobs or newly jobs added to the labor force is behind by about 65%. This is a huge figure. I mean, that's almost 500,000 jobs different between the prediction by the economists and what actually happened. It wouldn't even be a stretch to say that their prediction was way off. But now what does this mean? It means that fewer jobs are being added, and that's really not a good sign. With the ongoing, this is one of the things that we definitely don't want to see. The weaker jobs report just tells us that our recovery is going slower than expected. It has proven to be incredibly harsh and unbelievably unfair. Millions of jobs lost, trillions of dollars in wealth just evaporated, evictions happening left and right, and people losing their homes on a regular basis. Is this really what it's come down to? One thing is for sure, that those who were affected least were those who had the ability to work from home or work remotely. And so with that being said, I figured, well, what better way could I help my community out than to put together 20 of the top ways to make money from home, all in one easy to read PDF. Find out how to make thousands of dollars per month with these 20 income generation ideas. I'm going to drop a link in the description down below of this video, as well as in the pinned comment. Get your free 20 ways to generate income from home, link in the description down below. Or you can go to bigeconomicalerts.com/job. But let's continue on and see what President Biden had to say. It says here that Biden pinned the poor report to the highly contagious Delta variant and the reluctance of many eligible Americans to get. He said that the U.S. could boost its economy by reining in and passing his 2 economic plans, which, by the way, he said would help with the middle class and make the country more resilient to the kind of extreme weather that has knocked out power in New Orleans and crippled transit in New York City in recent days. Our country needs these investments, according to President Biden. I am not asking for anything other than some fairness being into the system. Okay, but now what exactly is he talking about here? Now, of course, it's his $1 trillion infrastructure bill and the $3.5 trillion reconciliation bill, aka the stimulus bill. Now, these 2 bills are the main pillars of President Biden's Build Back Better agenda that aims to transform the lives of millions of Americans and improve the country by implementing numerous programs that tackle issues that we are facing every single day. Some of the programs in his stimulus bill, aka the human infrastructure bill, include Medicare expansion, lowering drug prices, free community college, an extension of the child tax credits, universal pre-K, housing credit expansion, and a whole lot more. There could even be a 4th stimulus check included in there, as President Biden has apparently been open to another round of those lately. Lastly, it would not surprise me if they add monthly stimulus checks in there, since so many Democrats have been calling for those. So with all these programs listed down, we can see that these are really investments. Now, if these investments actually pull through, we'll definitely see an instant change for the better in our country. However, getting these bills actually done won't be easy for President Biden and for the Democrats. But just like all things, there will always be some form of opposition, such as the case here. It says here that the president's push for the economic agenda comes a day after Senator Joe Manchin complicated his party's plans to pass it in Congress. Manchin, whose vote Democrats would need to approve an up to $3.5 trillion budget reconciliation bill in the Senate, urged congressional leaders to pause consideration for the measure. The senator who helped to negotiate the Senate-passed bipartisan bill cited inflation and long-term debt as reasons for the delay. He did not rule out voting for a proposal that costs less than $3.5 trillion, though. Senator Joe Manchin made the news recently when he urged his fellow Democrats to pause on considering the $3.5 trillion stimulus bill. And so by saying pause, he actually meant stop here. He doesn't want to push through the bill since he's considering the influence of the worsening inflation on the financial aspect of the bill. Also, if you guys didn't know, he was never a supporter of the $3.5 trillion price tag of the bill in the first place. So are Joe Manchin's actions today unexpected? I really don't think so. He's always been the kind of guy in the Democrats that kind of pulls this sort of thing. Some even call him a Dino. And the way things are going, I really wouldn't blame you if you did. But how will this affect the passage of the bills? Well, the Democrats cannot afford to lose his vote in the Senate. This just makes the situation even harder for the senators. And if they lose his vote, then the reconciliation bill basically goes down the drain and President Biden's agenda will essentially not see the light of day. Now, this somehow marks the beginning of the tedious negotiations that are about to come, and I'm betting that things are definitely going to get heated down the line. It says here, House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has said that she will not hold a vote on the infrastructure legislation until the Senate first passes the Democrat spending plan. After centrists in her caucus threatened to hold up the budget bill, Nancy Pelosi made a non-binding commitment to consider the bipartisan bill by September 27th. Even the House Democrats are not safe from facing opposition with their agenda. The last session to vote for the infrastructure bill was held up by centrists demanding that they first vote on the infrastructure bill before working on the stimulus bill. Now, somehow, Nancy Pelosi, she managed to strike a deal with them and, to be able to consider the infrastructure bill by September 7th, which satisfied the centrists. It's kind of funny because when she was asked about, hey, how did you negotiate with the senators to kind of get them on board? She was like, oh, I just clarified a few things. Kind of wonder what that conversation went like. Now we just have to wait and see what's going to happen by then. Will they be able to get both bills passed, or will this be a historical failure for the Democrats? It says here, President Biden on Friday framed tax increases on the wealthy and corporations as a way to create a fairer economy. He repeated this pledge not to raise taxes on anyone making less than $400,000 a year. For those big corporations that don't want things to change, my message is this. It's time for working families, the folks who built this country, to have their taxes cut. This came from President Biden, and those corporate interests doing everything that they can to find allies in Congress to keep that from happening. Let me be, as the old expression goes, perfectly clear. I'm gonna take them on. Sounded like a threat to me from President Biden, but let's see if he follows through on this. Now, the topic of taxing giant corporations and the wealthy people has always been the forefront of discussions by President Biden. Now, this isn't the first time that we've heard this. That is because taxing these people seems to be a viable option for generating money needed for these infrastructure and stimulus bills. Now, if things go well, they could actually make it work. And if they make it work, they can implement the programs that they want in their stimulus bill, meaning that we could possibly get a stimulus check sooner than later. Now, of course, nothing is guaranteed in this game here yet, right? And we may make numerous predictions here and there that may not actually pan out. But one thing's for sure here, President Biden will 100% push for these two bills, and I'm pretty sure he's not going to stop. These are part of his top priorities, and he will not allow these to just simply fail so easily. So what do you guys think about this? With the situation worsening of the pandemic, this could be counted as one more reason to pass the stimulus bill. Can they get this done at the end of the month? Let me hear your thoughts in the comments below. Up next, more stimulus bill related news. More than 100 Democrats are apparently backing newly introduced legislation that aims to lower the Medicare eligibility age to 60 years old. Now, what exactly does this mean? And how will this actually help our country? Let's find out here. More than 100 House Democrats are backing legislation introduced Friday that would lower Medicare eligibility to age 60 down from 65 years old. It says here the Improving Medicare Coverage Act was co-sponsored by at least 125 Democrats, led by Representatives Pramila Jayapal, Connor Labb, Joe Neguse, Susan Wild, Haley Stevens, and Debbie Dingell. Jayapal said the legislation would expand coverage to an additional 23 million people. Lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 60 years old is actually part of the Medicare expansion that they want to include in the stimulus bill. Now, with more than 100 House Democrats actually calling for this, it's almost certain by now that this will be included in the bill. Expanding coverage to an additional 23 million people would actually be a game changer here. That means about 23 million people will be living better lives. And of course, I'm all for that. It says here, lowering the Medicare eligibility age will not only be life-changing for at least 23 million people, it would also be life-saving for so many Americans who will finally be able to get the care that they need and deserve, according to Jayapal. Democrats are aiming to include the provisions of the stimulus bill in the $3.5 trillion reconciliation package, which is focused on human infrastructure. They also want legislation to expand Medicare coverage for hearing, vision, and dental care. Now, the age-old problem has always been getting health care to the people that need it the most. Actually lowering the eligibility age would definitely help with that one. Now, include this with all the other items that I mentioned earlier, and we'll definitely get a bill that will truly affect how our healthcare is actually given in our country. What are your thoughts on this one? Is it the best move to make regarding Medicare expansion? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Now, last but not least, the American Medical Association is actually calling for an immediate end to the use of ivermectin as a way to fight. Now, what exactly is ivermectin, and how are they calling? Why are they calling for the stop of this? Let's find out here. The American Medical Association, the AMA, is calling for the immediate end to the use of ivermectin to treat and for doctors to stop prescribing it for that purpose amid a spike in the use of the drug. Ivermectin, often used as a deworming agent in animals and sometimes humans, is not approved to treat the that we're facing and has not shown to work for that purpose. Poison control centers have recorded a 5-fold increase in calls related to ivermectin, according to the Centers of Control and Prevention, the CDC. Ivermectin is in fact a drug used to treat other animals. What? It's not even approved to be used to treat, and this is a drug that's actually designed to work on animals. Like, what's going on here? The CDC has been warning people about this drug for quite some time now. But now the AMA, which is actually the country's most prominent doctors group, is also in on this one. Now, with that much authority calling for an end to the use of this drug, maybe people would actually stop. The groups also call on doctors and pharmacists to warn patients about using this drug against the use of ivermectin for the prevention and treatment has been demonstrated to be harmful to patients, according to the groups. Calls to poison control centers due to ivermectin ingestion have increased 5-fold from their baseline. Experts say that instead of risking the use of unproven drugs, people should. Now, there is a risk of harming yourself here when you use this drug, according to the data. So I think it might be best to stay on the safe side, but obviously it's your call. You might do yourself more harm than good in the end. Now, of course, I'm not one to force anything on you guys. I'm just sharing the news here, and you can always see the source that I'm using. So feel free to do your own research and learn for yourself. Also, if you have your own experience to share, let our community know down in the comments. Always love hearing from you guys. And I just want to say to stay safe out there. So anyway, guys, that's all for the news on your fourth stimulus check update, recurring stimulus check update. President Biden urging Congress to pass the infrastructure bill and the stimulus bill, plus more than 100 Democrats are calling for a lower Medicare eligibility age, and the American Medical Association's call for the end of the use of ivermectin as a drug to fight. But what are you guys thinking? Hit me up in the comments down below. I hope you guys appreciated it all. If you have not already, do like this video, definitely subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell so you're notified as soon as I release new videos and content. And I will see you guys on the next video. Take care and be safe. Take care and be safe.